Well, what is likely to be the first of very many knee bends, CBS has decided to give up in one particular area where they were guaranteed to fail. Of course, we're talking about DEI, but it's just the first of many. There are about to be a lot of concessions made by CBS, in other words, Paramount, in order to get the deal done with Sundance. But we're going to set that part of it all aside because we'll probably be covering that soon enough. We got $20 billion hanging out there, folks. And we're going to focus in on all the illegal DEI hires and non-hires that happened over at CBS. Here we go. Now, before we get started, just a quick reminder, I'm trying to get to 50K. So if you look down there, notice that you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. Turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything, and you will be seeing a lot because I do a ton of stuff each and every week, many live streams and many videos, and you don't want to miss any of those. So after you've done all of that, hit the thumbs up button while you're down there, and let's carry on to the story from Martin Montanaro over at That Part Place. CBS DEI lawsuit ends with confidential payout in landmark case that could have massive implications for Hollywood. It could have. It certainly will. Each and every one of these entities, from large to small, have actually bent the knee to DEI, or they did. Now they're bending the knee for another reason, to, well, fall into compliance with the way things are supposed to be. You're not supposed to be allowed to discriminate, and DEI is nothing but discrimination packaged in a way that alienates people, that also destroys roles, creativity, and many other things because nothing's done on the basis of merit. It's all because of some immutable characteristic, which means some people that are unqualified end up in positions that they never should have in the first place. Regardless, this is just the beginning of the story. Let's move on here. Thank you to Marvin. A high-profile legal dispute targeting hiring practices at CBS Studios has quietly come to an end, with significant implications for the entertainment industry. After more than a year of legal back and forth, CBS and a freelance writer, Brian Beneker, have officially settled a lawsuit that challenged the network's DEI policies, meaning they were going to lose, and they were going to do so publicly, and it would set a precedent that would create incredible harm to pretty much all media, which it's already going to do, but you're going to see more and more of this, and maybe even some class actions in the near future. The case, filed in February of 2024, so basically a year and change ago, alleged that Beneker was denied a full-time position on SEAL Team Series because of his demographic background. He's a white male, which they're the absolute worst kind, according to these networks, and CBS emphasis on its corporate inclusion initiatives, meaning they set quotas, which is a no-no in any industry, anywhere in the world. At the heart of the lawsuit was a claim that merit was being sidelined in favor of demographic checklists, which everybody knows for a fact was actually happening. A critique echoed by a growing chorus of industry watchdogs and legal analysis. Well, yeah, including myself, and obviously That Part Place and all of the other places you can find me hanging out each and every day. On April 18th, U.S. District Judge Ann Huang signed off on a point stipulation to dismiss the case with prejudice, meaning they can't bring it again. Each side will cover its own legal fees, and though the exact terms remain sealed, sources suggest that Beneker received a financial resolution, though reportedly a modest one, which is kind of disappointing, but I imagine the federal government will follow up shortly. While CBS did not admit fault or issue a formal statement on the outcome, legal observers see this as a major moment. The settlement marks the first notable financial resolution in a case brought by a freelance professional alleging unfair treatment based on not fitting the company's preferred demographic profile. This is one of many such circumstances that are going to be brought forward in the future, with a lot of these resolutions being kept hush-hush. The last thing they could do is admit fault, because it would really open the floodgates to so many more cases It's not even imaginable. Benneker's CBS DEI lawsuit, it was supported by America First Legal Foundation, a group that has challenged inclusive-based hiring standards in various industries. And it disgusts me to even say that because it's not inclusive, it's exclusive. The only people being included were everybody but white males, because white and male is stale, at least according to Hollywood. And that's something you could have heard inside the industry for the course of the last several years. Paramount Global and CBS Studios have agreed to a settlement in the lawsuit America First Legal brought on behalf of our client, Brian Benneker, said AFLF senior counsel Nick Berry in a statement. America First Legal is pleased to see Paramount and CBS publicly back off their DEI requirements and return to merit based considerations. Though CBS made no public changes to its inclusion policies as part of the settlement, the case has become a rallying point for those critical of rigid demographic quotas in hiring, considering, of course, that they're illegal. Some believe this may prompt reevaluation across other major studios, and believe it or not, I'm one of those people. I think they're going to have to back off on this garbage and actually go back to hiring people of quality, not of immutable characteristic. The dispute arrived at a time of increasing corporate scrutiny. CBS had already suffered a setback when its motion to dismiss the case was denied on August 2024, as studio prepares for an ownership shift under the potential Skydance merger deal backed by David Ellison. The timing of the settlement appears to be strategic, as does their intent to work with a moderator and President Donald Trump on his $20 billion claim against 60 Minutes, which is also getting FCC scrutiny simultaneously, which could be a real problem when you're trying to sell something with networks attached, and specifically news and news programming. Adding more pressure to the situation, the Trump administration has adopted a sharply proactive stance toward corporate media powerhouses, CBS included, and especially, I will say, longstanding grievances over perceived bias have evolved into tangible legal and regulatory action, which means it's pretty easy to prove that there is a substantial bias by CBS and their news folks against, well, anybody who seems conservative or MAGA or interested in Trump or his policies. And that's not a good place to come from if you're supposed to be an unbiased news organization. At the regulatory level, the FCC, now helmed by Trump appointed Chairman Brendan Carr, has taken on an increasingly high profile role in scrutinizing media conglomerates, which again, Paramount is going to be changing hands, and that's going to require FCC, SEC, and other types of regulatory approvals. Carr, widely seen as aligned with the president's messaging priorities, is overseeing the federal review process of the Paramount Skydance merger. Though the deal is expected to eventually pass, insiders report that the FCC is applying extraordinary pressure and delaying approval as part of a broader push for ideological realignment within the entertainment industry, which I would imagine they're going to achieve, if not now, in the very near future. This slow-walked regulatory process is seen by some as a strategic move, one that grants the administration leverage to influence corporate behavior and encourage rollbacks of controversial practices, especially around hiring or illegal hiring, which they've been participating in. With media consolidation hanging in the balance, CBS may have little choice but to show signs of cooperation to secure the green light. And for me, it better be more than just signs. They may need to actually mean it this time. And they probably should, because there are a whole lot of other federal agencies that are interested in passing some regulatory scrutiny over CBS, Viacom, Paramount, whatever you want to call them, and its merger with Skydance and beyond. Because guess what? There's a lot of illegal practices going on in major studios, major companies like Disney, which has violated all kinds of laws over the course of the last 6 to 8 years. Industry insiders suggest the CBS settlement may be part of a broader attempt to demonstrate compliance and earn goodwill as regulatory scrutiny intensifies. The Trump administration has seemingly placed CBS under a microscope, particularly in light of the $4 billion lawsuit filed by President Trump himself over a 60 Minutes interview with then Vice President Kamala Harris. And if you've seen that and then seen the actual raw footage, well, you can find out why he's particularly disgusted. And of course, that was disgusting and a pretty obvious attempt to manipulate the results of an election, which I think is also illegal. The complaint alleges misleading editing and calls for steep consequences, including the retraction and potential revocation of CBS's broadcast license, which could be a possibility, but hopefully it won't go that far. I imagine another deep D bend occurring. And what's interesting is this article notes is Bill Owens has actually stepped away and resigned from 60 Minutes because, well, CBS is going to have to bend the knee again. And I am absolutely here for it. What about you? In fact, what do you think about this recent revelation that CBS has settled a suit that would have put them on the hook for quite a pretty penny and opened them up to even more scrutiny from the federal government? Also, I have to ask, do you think that this is going to change the landscape of all of the other major entertainment enterprises? Will they have to comply with the law finally and go back to merit based hiring, firing, and of course, performance incentives? Will Disney actually get caught up in this sphere faster than we thought possible and end up on the end of a larger investigations into their compliance, removing DEI and all of its garbage from, well, their everyday performance of duties? Let me know your thoughts, those and others, down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya for real.